My name is Erica Lorraine Spencer, and I remain subject to state surveillance and terrorism by the state of California that is operating a malicious targeting system, which is referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices. And it is in violation of federal stalking statute 18 U.S.C. sections 2261A subsections 1 and 2. My website and podcast serve the public good by publishing evidence of the public entity's ceaseless engagement in a pattern of conduct intended to stalk and monitor via communication devices, surveil, harass, and terrorize an American citizen in concert with the people of the state of California. Documentation serves the lawful purposes of wide exposure, federal prosecution, and influencing federal legislation with policies specifically designed to punish, dismantle, and disincentivize an unprecedented targeting system by a public entity that acts in concert with the people of the state in order to criminally place under surveillance and terrorize an American citizen, which is a matter of public corruption in the state of California.
All right, AVANATH Capital Management, which is the people of the state commercially facilitating federal group stalking and monitoring, that is underway amongst the elderly population that is full of gang stalkers throughout the city of Ontario at Woodside Senior Apartments at 2:35 a.m. It's currently 2:37, so 2:36 a.m. I just took a picture. But the demon in unit number 55, who was gang stalking with Tracy Banks, who's inside of this apartment, who was gang stalking as well, who was not asleep. She is stalking in the path while the elements of monitoring are underway by the entire entity. And this demon is not in a bedroom. She's not asleep. She's right where I am positioned in the living room, where engineered light remains on an ongoing basis, both while the fake sun is there, which is a very foolish and obvious prop in the sky that remains all day while demons are pacing. This is what this elderly age sex offender who's obsessed with my genitalia and is obsessing over me and is engaging in what is psychological torture via amplified pacing over my physical location inside of Tracy Banks' apartment, where she is gang stalking with her neighbor in unit 55, license 5WB 715 at 2:36 in the morning. It is criminal interference with quiet enjoyment. It's audible activity creation in the engineered light where she is gang stalking by residents. She is going to a mental asylum. She's engaged in federal stalking. The demon possessed who are severely mentally ill, the psychopathic disorder, they engage in the pattern of conduct such that when they are monitoring the evidence that's being published while they're targeting their own federal prosecutor, who is going to testify and clearly identify with detail and with all the diligence regarding the body of evidence against all of them. The entity is engaging in what is the pattern of what is harassment, terrorism, stalking with amplified noise. Because I am also on the internet, which you will see, I'm taking a picture of what the demons are monitoring, what the demons are hostile to. And it is while I'm editing my website regarding this very conduct, actually, harassment and terrorism by the demon-possessed people of the state who engage in a pattern, a documented pattern of what is acts of violence, intimidation, assault and battery, criminal defamation, while they engage in what is obstruction of justice tactics, because I am documenting the entity. Okay, this is what this demon is doing by gang stalking by residents. No elderly person is causing the ceilings to crack and the walls to crack. It's also with regard to what is relevant to everything that's being monitored. Everything that I do is within the obsession of the demons. And also what I do tends to infuriate psychopaths who are demon-possessed gang stalkers. Okay, it's criminal conduct that AVANATH is going to be prosecuted for. 24-hour surveillance is what AVANATH Capital Management is engaged in while profiting. All right, and this is why you are draining their pockets. And this is also why their employees are subject to prison. This is why the residents in units 33 through 64 are going to prison, and the one in 55 is going to a mental asylum. It's 2:39 a.m. on April 17, 2025. And like the demons that are monitoring and are engaging in what is a very futile act, very foolish and futile, of seeking to harass somebody that's prosecuting you profusely and embarrassing you, you should take a look at the body of evidence that is on the P.O.C. website at thisisthepoc.wordpress.com. And under the tab that is entitled Federal Group Stalking and Monitoring, actually under the tab it's entitled California is engaged in group stalking. The state of California is group stalking is specifically what it says. And then if you go to the bottom of that sub menu, the people of the state of California, and it is a body of, I believe it's 32 videos so far that I am speaking to the acts of violence that the demon possessed have engaged in against me. And this is the state. This is all state action, all the acts of violence, all of the audible activity, which is serving to threaten your life and your well-being while they are monitoring. Everything that they say is automatically published because it's public information while I'm being gang stalked. Okay. There's no privacy. They're all listening together. They all engage in real-time formulation and manufacturing of information, conspiring in real time because everything is being shared amongst the demons who are monitoring as one. This is how you're also understanding the crime of criminal defamation. But nonetheless, you should look at the P.O.C. website because you will see the body of evidence speaking to psychopaths like the demon in Unit 55. And like you've heard the demon here, Tracy Banks in Unit 51, who engage in acts of intimidation, violence, and psychological torture and threats based on the fact that they are being inevitably documented and prosecuted, and they will be prosecuted for those documented acts of obstruction of justice. And it includes an elderly person that is unemployed that is stalking in a living room at 2 o'clock in the morning based on what is her obvious mental instability and her need for being locked up in an asylum, which is where she's going. It's 2:41 a.m. on April 17, 2025, and this is P.O.C.
Talked to your auntie today. She said that Arrowhead took Nairi to a mental hospital where she's going to be there for a while. So they get her together. Yeah, she's going to be there for a while. Yep, she's going to be there. She's not getting out for a while. I mean, she acted a fool in the emergency room at Victor Valley. She was threatening them. I was like, oh my goodness. She gonna knock it out there and have her arrested. Yep, it was crazy. Huh? I said it was crazy. I'm so glad you called me, son. Thank you. It's always good to check on your mother. I thought I called you this morning. You didn't answer. Oh, okay. Maybe that was another one. I thought I called you today. Oh, good. Oh. Good. Good. Yep, that is good. This is good. I just got a couple of apple pies. One for me and one for Eric. Look. That's it. Look, behaving. I said I'm behaving. Not a whole bunch of garbage. I got some oranges. Ooh, yuck. Oh, that's right. You can't eat them. I forgot. Right. But you can drink orange juice. That's what I don't understand. Right.
All right, it's 8:29 p.m. Starting with regard to the use of phone records prosecuting the people of the state. These are the gang stalkers that are in the target individual's family, gang stalking together, just like they are with the same police department, with the same city of Ontario.
a demon bringing in groceries is pacing around in the same exact environment, doing so with the same means, using a communication device, doing so with demons whose name you know. This is the P.O.C. It's currently 8:33 p.m. This is, again, the defendant that is on the phone who's going to federal prison, and the one that is using the communication device, gang stalking together, engaging federal stalking together, with knowledge of the fact also that their gang stalking has been a matter of documentation published. This is speaking to the impunity. And with regard to understanding demonic activity, the impunity is understanding that demonic spirit, okay? Both of them are speaking to what is impunity: going and conspiring against a relative, seeking to murder, criminally defame, engaged in a pattern of kidnapping, and doing so while also engaged in egregious and incestuous means of sexually targeting as well. Very demented, the demons that are monitoring together in the same manner. It is currently 8:33 p.m. This is P.O.C. on, April 17, 2025. All right, what you are listening to is the elements of monitoring that remain underway, and this is amongst the entity that is, again, you can identify by name as the pattern of conduct have shown and proven its government conduct that's in concert with the civilian population. And so knowing the name of the gang stalker, which is a means of identifying the elements in the specific environment, is irrelevant with regard to prosecuting the state for federal group stalking and monitoring. But it is also legally relevant where the entity is gang stalking you through people who are relatives, those who are in your social circle. Those are those who are subject and fully exposed to federal prison. And this is also the case while the entity is also monitoring evidence. And so this is, again, Eric Corey Spencer, residing in Oakland, California, the specific environment where there's never any sun over Oakland, California, anywhere over Eric, where he's at in Northern California, while it's remaining over Tracy Banks's apartment from sunrise until sunset. Eric Corey Spencer is fully engaged in the pattern of conduct against me in furtherance of committing murder, criminal defamation, repeated documented acts of kidnapping, with knowledge of the fact that I am engaged in documentation, which he is doing during an ongoing federal case. Okay, this is reference to impunity, which Eric Spencer is going to be prosecuted for, the impunity with which he's engaged in terrorism and psychological torture with the incriminating defendant, Tracy Banks. Everything she says and does is a liability to her co-defendants, even though that's not necessary to prosecute, but she is so heavily documented. This is the entity gang stalking me together in the environment, the same P.O.C., the communication device is a means of federal stalking, the elements of monitoring, the speakerphone, while she's pacing around in a demon looking productive, is putting groceries away in the engineered light, maintaining audible activity, pacing back and forth. Okay. This is, again, the entity that's engaging the same exact criminal P.O.C. at the facilitating venue on behalf of the state. It's the elements that control, and the entity is aware also that it's being documented. That's speaking to the psychopathic disorders of the demons, Eric Spencer and Tracy Banks, who together rely on criminal defamation. They're both highly unintelligent in doing so. They're both also very highly malicious. Okay. This is harbored animosity since I was a child, unbeknownst to me. Again, these are psychopaths that don't even like me, and their gang stalking that is now being served for prosecuting them and diagnosing them is the evidence of that. It is all state action as well. It is in concert with AVANATH capital management, and it is in anticipation of the fact that the documentation will be underway. So this is a psychopath that walks in and gets on the phone, gang stalking together, fully anticipates being documented. That's speaking to obsession. It's not just a foolish defendant. It's speaking to obsession. The demons are more obsessed with me than they are acknowledging the fact that you're going to a cell and you're not getting out. Understand, you're not dealing with mentally sound people. These are demons, and this is psychopathic personality disorders of those who are of that condition, engaging in the criminal conduct of gang stalking, federal group stalking and monitoring, which is underway in an apartment, which is inside of an apartment building, which is at a facilitating venue within the specific environment. It is P.O.C. That's what you just listened to while someone's family is gang stalking them. Okay. It is 8:46 p.m. on April 17, 2025. Eric and Tracy have been engaged in years of targeting together, and that's why they're both going to federal facilities and they're not getting out. This level of malice is directly relevant to how profusely they will be prosecuted. This is the highest threat that the government poses. They rely on your friends and family to target you, to criminally defame you, hitmen that target you together, and then they control the narrative. Speaking, oh, she was always disturbed. Oh, she was always a problem. And I've been no such thing. I've been a licensed attorney going about my career, and my family that's envious of me has been targeting me with the state and a whole bunch of demons whose name I don't even know. okay, in ways in which that are proven and supported through the P.O.C, the evidence of it, while they rely on, again, vacuous statements, which is audible activity when they refer to things which is in substance, criminal defamation, okay? That's, in other words, the tactics of Satan, which is desperate, who relies on illusions. But you're not prosecuting with illusions, you're prosecuting with facts, all right? It is 8:47 p.m. on April 17, 2025. That is, again, Eric Corey Spencer and Tracy Banks gang stalking me together in the private space. That's P.O.C.